Hi, I'm Gina and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And I was thinking about when you know that you've been wounded and you've been hurt and you keep playing those patterns out in your relationships. And maybe you've hit a point in your life where you keep saying, why me? Why does this keep happening to me? Why, if I went through trauma as a child and now I've gone in adulthood and had a very difficult or painful relationship or many relationships or even ending in divorce, why me? I know throughout my adult life I hit many points where I would ask that question over and over again. The first time was in my first marriage that failed and ended in divorce, and I would ask that question over and over again when challenges in life would come to me, especially physical or mental challenges, suffering with depression. Certainly when cancer came into my life, it was a big question of why me? So as I'm talking to you now, I want you to think about those circumstances where you hit a wall emotionally and you just wondered, why me? And I'm not saying that from the standpoint of I'm a victim and, oh God, this doesn't happen, I'm the only one in the world that happens to. Although sometimes in our grief and in our pain, we probably really do feel that way, that we're the only human this is happening to. But when you ask that question, I want you to know that something in you is trying to break free. That you've been living a life in a certain pattern of your life that no longer works for you. I don't care if you're 10, 15, 25, or 55. When you start asking that question, why me? You are seeking a greater understanding and purpose for the intention of your life. And most people will walk through life very innocently, maybe never asking that question. But if you're asking that question, is because within you, your own psyche is calling for you to do more. And I don't mean do more like add more jobs onto your list and get more accolades and get more degrees. I'm not talking about amassing wealth. I'm talking about there is a spiritual level that is very directly in sync with your psychological and your emotional well-being. See, this is not about practicing a particular faith or a particular religion and you're going to tune into why, those greater meanings of life and how I need to follow a certain path. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about within you, you have your own coding. Let's call it a genetic code of who you are, what you're meant to be, what you're intended to do in this life and in this lifetime while you're still here. And when that question, why me, comes, it's time to answer it. It's time to understand on a deeper level, on a more spiritual level, what I've been doing in my life isn't working, then what am I meant to do different? What is it in me that's trying to break free? What is it that I need to understand? I need to know that what I'm doing right now isn't working for me. We can live half-measured lives. We can have the nice house, the nice car, the nice spouse, the dog, and the picket fence, and still feel unfulfilled. And to me, there's a spiritual principle operating underneath all of our lives that maybe lies dormant for very, very long until it's awoken in you. And so when you ask that question, that's the first sign that something in you is awakening to the possibility that I'm not living my life in a direction that ultimately is going to bring fulfillment for me, nor the people around me. Again, it's not about material things, and it's not about checking off goals that you had in your life. It's how on a daily basis you feel free. And I'm talking about free from the baggage of your past. I'm talking whatever your history was. If you had a bad childhood or a horrible marriage, or you moved all over the country, or you had physical illnesses the majority of your life, or you have them now, I mean to be free of all of that as an identity. Your identity is not the thing that you're doing or becoming, it's the thing that you are in this moment. And in this moment, if my identity is sadness or depression or fear, I'm never going to be anything other than those things that I'm identifying myself with. You are intended for greatness, I'm going to say. Not my measure of greatness, not society's measure of greatness, your own greatness. And that greatness doesn't come by not asking the hard questions of yourself is, what am I doing here? What am I getting out of this? Why do I keep staying in places that don't serve me? Why am I living this life with this partner that I'm so unhappy with? Why am I tolerating bad relationships with my children? Why am I having children when I don't want them? Or why didn't I have children if I really wanted them? Why am I continuing to be around people that make me feel unhappy or less than or unworthy or question my motives or question my integrity? These are all great questions of why that as I'm speaking to you now, I want you to start posing within yourself. And if you've asked them, it's because you're tired. It's because you're tired of living a standard routine life that you were told you were supposed to live. When you hit this age, you're supposed to do this and get this car, and then you're supposed to graduate, and then you're supposed to get a job, and then you're supposed to do this, that, and the other thing to be a fulfilled, wonderfully successful human being, when the truth is that spiritually your heart is calling for something so much different than that. You're looking for joy, peace, and freedom. The freedom to express yourself, even if it's outside of what the norm or the society asks you to express. The freedom to be creative. The freedom to have time even to reflect in your life. I think one of the ways that we're imprisoning ourselves in this society is by having the standard of always having to be connected. I need to be connected to my phone and my laptop and my computer and FaceTime and Clubhouse and Instagram and all this stuff. And I'm guilty. I am way involved in all of these social medias as well to try to advance this venue of mine as I'm reaching out and launching out into something that my spirit is actually calling me to do. So tradition and career says I'm a therapist. My heart calls me to be an inspirational speaker, and I've avoided that and I've ignored that most of my life. When the hard questions came to me about why cancer, the answer came to me as well, because you're not supposed to be silent anymore. You're not supposed to accept a 9 to 5, checking off the box, paying the bills, getting home, having a dinner, having a meal, having a conversation, going to sleep, and getting up and doing it all over again. My heart was calling me to speak out or to sing. Trust me, if I was a singer, I would be singing 24/7 because I think it's such a powerful and beautiful instrument that comes through a human being and a great way to use your voice. My voice was meant to be used in this manner. How is your voice meant to be used? Is it creative? Is it in writing? Is it in arts? Is it in building? Is it in design? Is it in accounting? Is it in figuring out numbers, solving problems or solutions? Is it creating a solution for a problem that exists that nobody has solved yet? I love that I keep watching all these young kids, especially during the recent pandemic that we are experiencing. And young people are coming up with solutions to basic problems about how to get food supplies to people, how to recycle things, how to harvest and grow things, being very creative in that. What I'm saying to you is the why me question is, why me? Why am I allowing myself to live less and live in a life that is less than what I desire and that what I really want for myself? Why can't I imagine something different for myself? Why can't I start forging a path that allows me to seek greatness? The only person standing in your way is you. So when the hard questions of suffering come, the suffering comes as a guide to teach you to break free of the norms and the conventions that you've been trapped in. The suffering comes to teach you to learn to use your resiliency muscles and to be creative. There's so many creative people on the planet that actually lost abilities. Maybe they couldn't walk, or maybe they couldn't see. There's many artists. There's many writers who started to tap into other senses and other creative forces in them because some other aspect of their humanity became limited. So if you're facing some limitations right now, whether you're in a miserable job, a miserable marriage, have difficult children, or finding yourself really stuck in whatever aspects of life you're stuck in, start saying, why me? Why am I here? Why am I choosing to be stuck? Why haven't I found the escape key to this current situation that I'm in? Because you're not allowing yourself to know that you are are truly free and that you're truly free to explore all of the possibilities and all of the dreams that you ever dreamt when you were a child, no matter what anybody told you. No matter who told you you couldn't be a writer, you couldn't be a singer, you couldn't be an astronaut, you couldn't be whatever it was you imagined to be, there were dreams inside of you that you wanted to follow. Now, realistically, you get a certain point in your life or age or circumstance or unavailability of resources that you didn't follow that path. That's okay. There's other dreams inside of you that you're dreaming now. Don't let those go too. Understand that you're trying to ask the question of what I'm doing here. There, I believe, is a plan and a purpose for your presence on this life, which means every trauma, every hurt, every struggle, and every dysfunction was there to break your soul free to become more what we call in psychology self-actualized. Become a greater, best version of yourself at all times. And that is possible to do no matter how bad your history is, no matter where you come from, no matter what you're suffering right now. It starts with believing that I am entitled to and I have the right to be healed and to be fully free and to fully seek out those things that I know are for my greatest good. Don't listen to other people's versions of who you are and what you're supposed to be, because they're always going to get it wrong. What if right now you started to tap into, yeah, I know I came from an impoverished situation, but I feel inside of me that I have the ability to have wealth and success. Yeah, I know I came from an abusive relationship, but I believe I have within me the ability and the right to be loved. Yes, I came from some tragic circumstances, whatever that is, or I left a failed marriage, or I was fired from a job. I've been a drug addict. I've been the abusive person in the relationship. Yes, I've been all these things, and yet within me, I believe there is the power to be greater than that and to heal from that and to formulate an identity that is in line with what my heart is calling for me to do. Instead of continuing to line up with what everyone else, including society, including societal norms or restrictions of limitations have told you that you're supposed to be, you know the identity that's waiting inside of you to be born, to be actualized, to come forward. So this is an opportunity now for you to begin to do the exploration of, if I hear the question, why me? Then the answer lies within me as well. Why me has come to me to understand that I am meant to do something different with my life than what I'm doing. So consider it a caution, consider it a pause, consider it an invitation to change the course of your life from the direction that you've been taking thus far, so that you can move into a future where you have joy, where you have compassion, where you have love, and where you feel truly whole and at peace with yourself.